Indiana News Desk is made possible in part by Maller Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnerships with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber Internet Security Solutions and Voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger and Robertson Attorneys at Law, utilizing 75 years of experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana News Desk. Republicans have held a supermajority in the statehouse for more than a decade, including both U.S. Senate seats and 7 of the 9 U.S. House seats. So Democrats face an uphill battle every election cycle, especially in deep red rural areas.
Jesus Christ would not have a chance in Davis County if he's a Democrat.
Life hasn't been the same for many on campus since Hamas' attack on Israel last October 7th and the subsequent war that followed.
We are not having the same college experience any longer that every other student is allowed to have because of our identity.
Pro-Israeli and pro-Palestine groups gathered separately to mark the anniversary. And we continue our series of interviews with candidates in next month's general election with the U.S. House District 9. We'll have these stories plus the latest news from across the state right now on Indiana News Desk. Welcome to Indiana News Desk. I'm Joe Wren. Monroe County residents will be paying more in income tax next year after the County Council voted to increase the rate to pay for a new jail. But commissioners still can't decide on where to build it. Clayton Baumgarth has this report.
Residents will pay an extra 0.105% on their income taxes beginning next year. That's after the Monroe County Council voted Tuesday night to raise the county income tax to pay for a new county jail. The increase will cost county residents an extra $105 a year per taxable income of $100,000. Councilmember Marty Hawk was the lone no vote. She's against putting a new tax in place without there being specific plans for a new jail.
I just feel like this is adding salt to the wound of the taxpayer to say we are going to tax you and we'll let you know later exactly what we want to do with it.
Consultants who recommended the rate increase estimate construction of a new justice facility could cost around $152 million. The county is required to build a new jail after an ACLU lawsuit alleging conditions at the Monroe County Jail violate constitutional rights. The lawsuit focuses in part on overcrowding.
We are taking action because we are under a lawsuit that is mandating that we either take action or folks will come in and take action for us.
Where to build the new jail remains an issue. County commissioners held a listening session over the weekend to hear feedback about the possibility of building a new jail on Vernal Pike south of Ellettsville. The Bloomington and Ellettsville Chambers of Commerce support the Vernal Pike option, which came up for sale in recent weeks.
It's not our favored site, but it did come up and we're doing our due diligence. But part of our due diligence is talking to people who live in the area. And there are a lot of homeowners in this area, which is one of the reasons why it's not my favorite site.
Several residents spoke out against the Vernal Pike site during the listening session.
I invested in this house to spend the rest of my life, to spend my golden years. So I don't want to move again. I would have never bought the house if I had thought that might be a possibility.
The commissioners will meet October 22nd to discuss site options. For Indiana News Desk, I'm Clayton Baumgarth.
That new overall income tax rate in the county will be 0.17%. Indiana has traditionally been a red state, but some counties in the rural southern part of the state run a deep red. But as Ethan Sandweiss reports, Democrats do exist there, led by party officials fighting what they see as the good fight against huge odds.
Politically, Indiana has more in common with the South than its neighbors in the Midwest. Outside of Indianapolis and the Chicago suburbs, only small pockets of Democratic opposition exist. Of 93 counties, 5 voted for Biden in the last election. In rural Daviess County, 80% chose Trump.
Jesus Christ would not have a chance in Davis County if he's a Democrat. That's how bad it is.
For over 50 years, Ron Critchlow has organized for the Democrats. It can be a thankless job when he can't find a single one to run for county seats.
Matter of fact, I pretty much know all the Democrats in the county. And in the northern part, you could set all the Democrats on your front room couch. That's how bad it is up there.
Of 100 seats in the Indiana Statehouse, Democrats are only running for 75.
The excuse that I get is, why run when I just get embarrassed?
Some of those who do run have sober expectations.
I will be ecstatic if I take back some more percentage points. I would be over the top happy if I win, and I can go to the State House and change some things.
In the last election, he polled around 30% of his district on the Ohio state line. Bartlett grew up in Delaware County and attributes his community's economic decline to one-party rule.
We got a Dollar General, we got a gas station, we got a post office, and we've got a bar. And that's what's left in our towns.
Bartlett hopes to get a boost from the enthusiasm built by the Harris campaign, and he says Indiana's new abortion ban will get more women to turn out for Democrats. But local races have a big impact up ticket, too. Indiana is one of only 7 states that lets voters pick all the candidates from one party by checking a single box, something called straight ticket voting. By running a single Democrat down ballot, otherwise straight ticket Republicans might break with the party on other seats.
If you don't run somebody for county commissioner or for state rep or for the local offices, then it's going to be harder to get folks out for president or governor and senator.
That's essentially the strategy for candidates in rural Indiana. They're campaigning on local issues such as school funding, property taxes, and medical deserts. And they're going for Republicans.
It takes about 1 hour to go to 5 farms. So it's not like canvassing in an urban area.
Whitcomb grew up in Seymour. You know when John Mellencamp sings about growing up in a small town? This is the one he's talking about.
My dad was a Republican governor and very popular in southern Indiana, and so I think that my name recognition in that way and people knowing my family in that way kind of takes the edge off of that margin.
Whitcomb is trying to wrest this district from gun-toting Jim Lucas, a Republican representative who won by a landslide 2 years ago. She's doing that the old-fashioned way, by knocking on doors.
Good morning.
Good morning, Barry.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Trish Whitcomb. How are you?
Hi.
The first house belongs to Barry, a retired school teacher and Republican. When Whitcomb asks him how he feels about Republicans' plans to merge rural schools, he isn't shy about his grievances. This is a big issue for Indiana Democrats, and one they hope will swing small-town voters. Whitcomb is a former teacher, as is the Democratic candidate for governor and her running mate.
The communities take so much pride in their small schools, and the legislators last session said that they were going to put in forced consolidations.
We visit 4 more houses that day, off county roads identified by numbers. Whitcomb talks to each voter for a long time. She speaks with frankness that gets people to open up. But this is a district with 68,000 residents. That's a lot of doors for a small party. Do rural Democrats really have a chance? Professor Helmke says the last time National Democrats paid serious attention to Indiana elections was the 2008 primary. The state was one of the last to vote, and by the general election, a strong Democratic coalition was in place. Solid red Indiana went blue for president, 5 of its 9 congressmen, and the state house. But Davies County, the place that went 80-20 for Trump in 2020, supported John McCain in 2008. McCain received 68% of the vote. Critchlow says he doesn't think his neighbors will ever change their minds.
These are all my friends. I don't get mad at them. I get upset sometimes, when they start arguing. But, that's just the facts of life.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Ethan Sandweiss.
Yeah, early voting for 2024 general election began Tuesday, and Indiana University student groups are trying to get students to the polls. This year is the first year many students are eligible to vote, and organizers say they're excited to have their voices heard, and they're encouraging students to vote early.
The day of Election Day, it might be harder to get to the polls. You might be waiting, so it's important that you're able to cast your ballot as early as possible.
IU is again taking part in the Big Ten Voting Challenge, which rewards universities that register the most students. You can early vote at the Vote Center on South Walnut Street. Early voting ends November 4th, the day before Election Day. Follow all of our election coverage at WTIU.org/elections. The Bloomington City Council voted unanimously to approve the 2025 Civil City budget. The $151 million budget includes wage increases for police, fire, and community and family resource departments, new affordable housing units, annexation planning, and more. However, the budget received a taxpayer objection petition ascribed to 10 residents. The petition took aim at the Capital Improvement Board, saying the building of a new convention center was a misuse of public funds. But after lengthy discussion, the council decided that the petition did not warrant modifications to the budget because it was received 2 minutes later than state statute allows. The Indiana Daily Student, IU Student Television, and WIUX Radio are all now operating under shared business operations. The IU Media School announced this Tuesday, and one of the biggest impacts will be the discontinuation of the IDS's weekly print edition next semester.
They were so shocked at the plan that was designed because the print paper is important to them. Obviously, not everyone reads the print newspaper, but just being able to hold a physical copy of your work is meaningful for a lot of our staffers.
The decision is a way to address the Daily Student's annual $300,000 budget deficit. The plan says printing only special edition publications will save the IDS $65,000 each year. The dean of the media school says the plan will fix the paper's budget issues in 3 to 5 years.
I just want to acknowledge that the pain of getting rid of a weekly edition. I'm acknowledging that. What else? We have to attack the deficit. It's not responsible not to do that.
IDS editors say they are exploring alternative ways to preserve the newspaper. Well, this week marks the one-year anniversary of Hamas' surprise attack on Israel that sparked a war in the Middle East. Pro-Israel and pro-Palestine groups on Indiana University's campus gathered to memorialize those killed on both sides of the conflict. With Aubrey Wright, Ethan Sandwise has this report.
Hundreds of people came together Monday night in an event hosted by several local Jewish groups to share their stories from the past year. More than 1,200 Israelis were killed and around 200 hostages taken during the Hamas attack last October 7th. Organizers say the campus just hasn't been the same place since.
We are not having the same college experience any longer that every other student is allowed to have because of our identity, and that is a major problem.
WFIU WTIU News was not permitted to attend the private event at the Alumni Association.
I don't think any of us expected to be dealing with this past year, and I think last night was, for the first time in a very long time, a night that we were able to come together, be together, mourn together, and just remember everything that has happened to our people.
Shafran says Jewish students have felt isolated and afraid on campus. She says Jewish students have been harassed, had their addresses and information shared online, and told they have to cancel events because of safety concerns. Across campus, around 75 people wearing traditional headscarves and carrying signs held a candlelight vigil. They mourned the tens of thousands of Palestinians and Lebanese that have been killed in Israel's ongoing military response.
It's just been amazing to see that people from literally all different walks of life, Jews, Americans, Arabs, Muslims, Christians, they're coming here to support us.
On Tuesday, around 40 pro-Palestine demonstrators gathered outside the Luddy School of Informatics, where the Department of Defense officials were meeting with IU faculty. Since Israel began its response to the October 7th attack, protesters have demanded IU end its research partnership with Crane Naval Base and the DoD because of U.S. military support for Israel. In a scene reminiscent of this spring's demonstrations at Dunn Meadow, protesters chanted slogans such as "From the river to the sea."
We certainly don't want any more people to die, but it's important to understand that the reason that people are dying is because Israel continues its attack. And honoring the victims means pointing out that reality in no uncertain terms.
For Indiana News Desk with Aubrey Wright, I'm Ethan Sandwise.
Pro-Palestine demonstrators occupied part of campus for 100 days this spring. Since then, IU has enacted new restrictions for expressive activities on campus. Coming up next on Indiana News Desk. We sit down with two of the candidates running for U.S. House District 9 seat, currently held by Republican Aaron Houchin. And the Indiana football team is undefeated and drawing national attention at the halfway point of the season. These stories and more right here on Indiana News Desk.
From the beginning, then. I saw the ghost!
You have any proof of that? Something terrifying has happened.
Very promising.
So what have you got for us? We have a bit of a mystery.
I have to finish this.
So what have you ladies been up to today?
Welcome back to Indiana News Desk. Republican incumbent Erin Houchin is facing her first challenge for the U.S. House District 9 seat, which includes Bloomington and Ellettsville and stretches southeast to the Ohio River. We sat down with the Democratic candidate Tim Peck and Libertarian Russell Brooksbank to talk about what issues are important to them. Now, Houchin declined several requests by WTIU for an interview. First up, Tim Peck, a physician in New Washington.
You went to Holy Cross, Harvard, and NYU before going to Silicon Valley, correct? Mm-hmm. So it's an unusual route to get to New Washington, Indiana.
Yeah,
so what made you decide to move there?
Yeah, so I live in New Washington, small 500-person town in rural Clark County on a 40-acre farm with my wife and my son. My wife is from New Washington, and when we were deciding where we wanted to raise our family, the Midwestern values and kind of a little bit off the grid on a farm seemed to be the right place for us. So we have our 2-year-old Cass, who's at home and growing up fast, and love New Washington.
So this would be, if you're elected, this would be your first elected position, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
So do you feel like you know what to do to get things done, once you're in Congress? I mean, how do you feel like your experiences prepare you for that?
I know the process in Congress and in DC quite well. Again, spent about 3 years on and off there, meeting every single congressperson at the time, testifying before Congress, understanding how the Congressional Budget Office works. I understand Medicare policy, VA policy, Medicaid policy extremely deeply, which is over 20% of our budget, and understand that better than most. And honestly, there's only a handful of physicians and other healthcare workers in Congress right now, and I think it could use a few more who understand the healthcare system, both from the front line as well as the business of healthcare and how the operations work.
Homelessness is a big issue. Here in Bloomington, it's got a lot of local implications, but the sources of this problem have to do with local, regional, national causes. What would you do in Congress to try and alleviate the issue of homelessness?
That has to do with complex issues, including us literally and unfortunately printing so much money during and after the pandemic to help us make sure that we didn't go into a depression. And now we have a lot of money circulating, and a lot of people had put money into the economy, causing inflation. So one of the key things we need to do is work on inflation, or we'll continue to have homelessness rise.
What is your position on elective abortions?
My positions come out of my experience. So as you said, I'm an emergency doctor. I've treated a lot of women who've been raped. I've treated girls who've been raped. I've treated women who would have died unless we treated them with an abortion. And never once in those experiences did I ever think about what the government had to say. And I just don't believe the government belongs in my exam room.
I wanted to ask you about your opponent as well, and how you would assess Erin Houchin's performance so far in Congress.
I don't think she's doing a great job of hearing what all Hoosiers have to say and bringing that back to DC right now. Add this in, that it's been the least productive Congress in modern history right now. And so people are not getting things done in Congress right now because we have a far right and a far left parties system going on. We need people more toward the middle who are willing to compromise, not see that as a dirty word, but willing to compromise and move this country forward, and that's what I'll do.
Next is Russell Brooksbank. The Libertarian candidate is from Clarksville and previously ran for an Indiana State House seat in 2020.
Do you think you have a chance at winning in this election?
I think every election I have a chance, and like I alluded to earlier, it's all up to the amount of how fed up the American people are. Have we reached the point where we're ready to ditch the two-party system and take a chance and vote for something different? And each election cycle I see us gaining ground, and so yeah, I believe I can win.
So I have notes here that said you founded the Pro-Life Libertarian Caucus. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you see that as contrary to libertarian principles about personal freedom?
I believe that abortion is a violation of the non-aggression principle. So it violates one of the very basic tenets of libertarianism. So would I ban all abortion? No. Because I do believe that a woman has a right to self-defense, and if a pregnancy is killing her, then she absolutely has a right to defend her life. I also believe that if a woman is raped, then she was impregnated against her will. And even though I believe that two wrongs don't make a right, I do not, I cannot in good conscience force someone to carry a child that was resulted from a rape.
All right, and do you agree with federal support for universities such as guaranteed student loan protections?
No, I do not. I think that the guaranteed student loans have done nothing but increase the cost of college education. The colleges and the banks say, okay, well, we know we're getting at least this much, and so we could at least charge this. And so no, I don't believe in taxpayer-funded college loans. If I think that if you want higher education, and then you should get it. I mean, it used to be that you could work a job in the summer and pay for college. You can't do that anymore. And why is that? And I think it's because of the guaranteed loan program.
Do you have any brief closing comments?
I would love for you to vote for me, but I don't care who you vote for. Just go, participate, learn, and become active in the process.
You can watch the full candidate interviews on our website, WTIU.org/elections. At the midway point of the season, the Indiana football team is a perfect 6-0 and ranked number 18 in the nation. As Pat Bean reports, the Hoosiers are defying most expectations, except those of first-year head coach Curt Cignetti.
There was no doubt in Curt Cignetti's mind that he could turn the Indiana football program around when he took the job last winter.
It's pretty simple. I win. Google me.
And he has. Picked to finish 17th in the 18-team Big Ten, Indiana has already won as many conference games as it did in the last 3 seasons combined. And at 6-0, they're off to their best start since 1967, and they're already bowl eligible. It's all a bit out of character for a program that has traditionally not been very good. Cignetti says the success is not a surprise due to the veteran coaches and players he brought with him from James Madison.
These are guys that came from championship programs that have now won 20 of their last 21 games. Okay? And a lot of other transfers that come from good programs. And the guys that stayed had a chip on their shoulder and something to prove.
7 starters in last week's game at Northwestern came to Indiana from JMU. Another 8 starters transferred from other schools. That includes quarterback Curtis Rourke, a former Mid-American Conference Player of the Year at Ohio University. Rourke has thrown for more than 1,700 yards and 14 touchdowns with just 2 interceptions this season.
Coach Cignetti talked about keeping that chip on the shoulder. I think that's very important.
we've had a great first half of the season, but we got a big second half as well.
The second half will be more difficult for the Hoosiers. It includes back-to-back games against number 24 Michigan and number 2 Ohio State. But with the offense and defense ranked in the top 7 nationally, the Hoosiers may even be impressing their coach.
I'm proud of the team up to this point, which I'm usually not supposed to say. But we can certainly improve a lot more. And, we're only halfway through the regular season.
For Indiana News Desk, I'm Pat Bean.
Indiana has a bye this weekend. The Hoosiers play again next Saturday when they host Nebraska for a homecoming. Now, IU just announced Thursday that game is a sellout. Well, that's the end of this program, but our work continues online as we cover the news throughout the week at WTIUnews.org. Have a great weekend.
Indiana News Desk is made possible in part by Maller-Grodner Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnerships with communities and organizations. rural.indiana.edu. Smithville Fiber Internet Security Solutions and Voice in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. Bunger & Robertson Attorneys at Law, utilizing 75 years of experience, knowledge, and resources to help individuals and families recover in personal injury matters. Information at lawbr.com. And by WTIU members. Thank you.